Hey you, thanks for dropping by the channel today. I truly appreciate it. I say at the start of every video these days, thank you for dropping by if you're a brand new visitor viewing for the first time, and also if you've been watching for many times. We're up to something like 560 days in a row, 560 videos in a row, actually probably more than that because sometimes I drop 2 videos in a day. So tons of videos out there, lots of stuff going on the channel. Very happy to bring you shoes every single day, and today what we're doing is not bringing just one, not bringing just 2, but bringing 3 to the channel. There's a whole story behind that about USA sneakers dropping left, right and centre. There's the Olympics mixed in there. There's actually been previous USA sneakers from a couple of these sort of lines. A bunch of stuff going on. So without further ado, we'll just get into it as we take a look at the PG4, the Kyrie 6 and the KD13 USA. This is the Talk About a 23 Sneaker channel, Talk About a 23 Sneaker channel des. Mainichi upside there, Mainichi media design. Every single day I bring in content from Tokyo, Japan about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news and sneaker reviews. And today what we're doing is we're doing a sort of comparison between 3 shoes. Now what I'll do behind me right here is I'll give you a look at my desktop, at least a little part of my desktop, because a funny little thing happened when I was looking at this shoe and researching it was just the way that the photos that I saved to my desktop so I can then put on iMovie to edit this video sort of lined up, and you'll be seeing it here as I sort of scroll down that I think it's the Kyrie 6s and the KD13s shoe for shoe are kind of lined up there, so lateral together, medial together, outsole together, heel together, so you get a really kind of good comparison between the two there, and that's one way to look at these 2 shoes. But unfortunately there's a 3rd shoe in there as well, and you're not seeing me sort of scroll down between 3 shoes because there's not much information about the PG4s, at least not this one, and that's a kind of motif that's going to come up in this video a couple of times because the PG4s and the Kyrie 6s, don't know about the KD13s, but the Kyrie 6s for sure, PG4s for sure, have already dropped a USA themed shoe, and then here we are getting another one. But the difference is, and we'll switch from looking at my desktop now to actually looking at, let's go with the lateral side of all 3, and I'll do that thing I do when, like 4 or 5 seconds per shoe, so you can kind of jump between them. And what you can see is a very common theme on these shoes. It's USA, right? So maybe you could go with a blue shoe with red piping and white detailing, or maybe you could go with a red shoe with blue detailing and white outsole. There's a lot of different ways to mash up the red, white and blue colorway, but if you're looking at these 3 one after the other here behind me, you can see all 3 of them are white shoes. That's their base, their sort of foundation is in the white bit of the shoe, and then on top of that you've got blue and red hits. So that's a sort of similarity between the 3. That's one of the reasons why I decided to clump these 3 shoes together. Another reason is because I've looked at USA's already, not just these 3 lines, but also, for example, Foamposites. There's a Foamposite USA behind me right now, and there have been others as well. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. No, there's one. It's come back to me. When you get to my age, stuff doesn't come back so quickly. I'm 44, by the way, if you're wondering, even though I look, anyway. So the other USA ones I was thinking about was the Fly Ease Air Max 90, celebrating its 30th year this year. The Air Max 90s bringing out that Fly Ease USA, and there have been so many others, and I haven't looked at all of them. I've skipped over a bunch of USA ones because after your 4th or 5th USA themed shoe, it's like, oh. But then I saw these 3 all kind of stacking up, and there were a couple of things about them that I really thought were worth getting into with you guys. Number one is, I've talked about this before, but it really is reinforced by these guys all dropping at the start of July together, one after the other, right on top of each other. Number one, I kind of feel sorry for the brands. They've got all this lined up. They've planned it for years, maybe as much as 4 years. They've obviously worked out who was going to be on the basketball team for the USA Olympics. Get some shoes going, the design process, the production process. It takes a long time. Obviously, all that started before the coronavirus pushed the Olympics back a year to 2021. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that will actually end up happening. But things like these shoes today, that are due to drop at the start of July, they've got no choice but to bring them out, and they can't just sort of stick them on the shelves for 12 months So I kind of feel sorry for them. These shoes are not really going to go anywhere. I did say about the original Kyrie 6 USAs. Let's chuck those guys up, and you can see that's a blue shoe. Like I was saying earlier, there are many ways to mash up the red, white, and blue colorway. And originally, the Kyrie 6 USAs, they went with blue. And I talked about how that shoe and that player, Kyrie Irving, is big enough to carry its own sort of momentum without the Olympics there to do it for it. I'm not so sure about Kevin Durant and Paul George. I'm not sure if they have enough sort of momentum or inertia on their own to make their shoes kind of fly without something to push it along like the Olympics. So I kind of feel sorry for the players, sorry for the brand, sorry for the lines, because obviously they've spent a lot of time, put a lot of effort into it, and so I've it's one of the things, like I say, I've talked about the channel, but also another thing as well, I'm starting to see that glut that I've talked about. Just shoes like hammering onto the market, dropping shoes like a summer thunderstorm drops rain. There's just a ton of shoes dropping on the market, and I think it's the brands trying to get their their content, get their stock out as fast as possible, because they know that in a couple of months' time, when the sort of financial wave of the coronavirus finally hits hard, because right now people still have money in their pockets, but in a couple of months' time that won't be the case, and they're trying to get as much out onto the market as possible beforehand. So that's a couple of sort of reasons why I wanted to look at these shoes, but specifically let's have a go straight in and look at the details on them, because that's kind of one of the reasons why we've got this video. Maybe that's the reason why you're watching this video. So let's go with the Kyrie 6s, and like I said, the original USA, if you can call it the original USA, that has dropped already, was a very blue shoe, but then here we are with this white motif shoe with red and blue hits on it. And there's a couple of things that are interesting on it. I think I'm right in saying that midfoot strap, which is red, is actually a speckled midfoot strap. That's something I haven't seen before. We talked in yesterday's video, I think it was, about the Kyrie 6 Asias, which, I'll put the midfoot strap up of the Kyrie 6 Asias on the medial side, because it's kind of rare to see them play around with the medial side of that midfoot strap. Usually it's just a solid V1 standing for the 6, the Kyrie 6s, and nothing much else going on there. But you can see on yesterday's Asias that they put in a bit of patterning on there as a sort of shout out to Kyrie Irving's elder sister, Asia Irving. But that midfoot strap, playing with that side of the midfoot strap, that was kind of the first time I'd seen that, but maybe there've been other shoes, but it's the first time I'd seen it. But also, today's one with the speckle on there, I hadn't seen that before either. And I've probably looked at, say 8 or 9 Kyrie 6s, so, I've looked at quite a few of them, but that speckled midfoot strap was a new feature that I hadn't seen before. And speckled is actually something that joins these three shoes together, and we'll get into that as we go through them. And I think I'm right in saying around about the middle of either the midfoot or the midsole, there's also a bit of speckle going on there. It's not like a full length midsole speckle effect, but there is something going on in the lower half of the shoe with the speckles as well. And then it's not too hard to go up onto the swoosh. There's a couple of details about the swoosh on Kyrie 6s. One is, in the case of these guys, it's a blue piped swoosh on a white upper. That's significant because A, it's the same on the medial and the lateral side. Sometimes the Kyrie 6s mash that up and you have different swooshes on the medial and the lateral sides. And B, the material that is on, that white material, is that kind of textured leather. I don't know if I want to go so far as to say tumbled leather, but it's a textured leather. And this is a particular place on Kyrie 6s that they play around with the materials. Sometimes gloss, sometimes matte, sometimes shiny, sometimes textured, sometimes not. So in the case of these guys, it's that kind of textured leather. It's not smooth, but I wouldn't go so far as to say tumbled. But that's that's a look at the 6s, the Kyrie 6s. Let's jump across to the KD13s, because like I said, there's enough pictures of those guys to talk about features on this one. And we'll stay with swooshes, since we were just talking about swooshes on the Kyrie 6s. Lateral side swoosh, one of my favorite things about the KD13s is the way it dips down into the midsole, and the the design and the technology it takes to kind of line that swoosh up, the way it's blue on the upper and then red on the midsole down there, and the way that joins together is very, very cool. And that's laid out on top of a really nice pinstripe in squares, so it's not like vertical pinstripes, say like the Yankees or like the Hanshin Tigers if you're in Japan. It's actually a sort of check or a square effect in the pinstripes on there, which gives these guys a kind of really classy feel about them. And then if we take that journey and keep going on the way around to the back of the shoe, to the medial side, I think I'm right in saying what you'll find there is a blue and red swoosh that fades, you know, from one colour to the other. So it's different from the lateral side swoosh. And then finally we come to one of the worst pictures in the world, which is a very pixelated picture of the PG4 USA's, a different PG4 USA. I didn't look at the previous ones which had the gold swoosh on them. Hopefully I will be able to find a picture and put that behind me here so you can see those guys. That's a more well-known shoe, but this PG4, pixelated PG4 USA that I'm looking at here is kind of new. I haven't seen it recently, and I was only planning to do the KD13s and the Kyrie 6s, but then the PG4s came along in exactly the same kind of patterning. And if we go down, I don't think I looked at the Kyrie 6s, not the Kyrie 6s, the KD13s where they were speckled on there, but if we go back to the KD13s, hopefully I'll be able to zoom in on that speckled effect there, and then if we switch that out and go back to the PG4s, like I said, you'll be able to see that speckled effect. So A, you've got the red, white and blue, a white base sneaker with blue and white hits on top of it for all three of these sneakers, and B, you've got that speckled effect that seems to run between all three of the sneakers as well. I couldn't find any better pictures than this for the PG4s, but just because it is very similar in its sort of construction, the blocking of the colours, the base in white and stuff like that, I wanted to throw that in there as well, alongside the other two sneakers. So that's it. That's my video for today. Day number 547 or whatever, 63. I don't know how many days it is. I know it's more than 500. I haven't missed a single day. Non-stop content about sneakers, and I'm happy to do it, and I'll keep on doing it. Now this is tomorrow's video. Tonight it's already it's actually already into Saturday morning, Friday night, Saturday morning. This is Saturday's video, so I better get out there and get this tucked away ready for you guys. So I hope you appreciate this look at 3 USA sneakers, and if you've got a perspective on, you know, what's going on with the Olympics and shoes and the coronavirus and sneaker drops, you know, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. For now though, time for me to sign off, and thank you guys for checking out the content. But you know what? I do this every single day, so that means that you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.